Have to.
Okay, we are live. We are live. We are live, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It is Thursday, May 12th. Can you guys believe we're already in May? Okay, welcome. This is the Millionaire Ladies Mob. This is our Thursday night discussion. Tonight's discussion is on disability. Is it easy to get? I want to know why you need it, how you can get it, and what you guys think about it. So we're going to go and we're going to talk about disability tonight. Okay. My name is Aaliyah Sherrod. I am out of Southern California and I am the healthcare queen. So we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to start with one of our ladies and let's see, who shall I pick? Meeny, meeny, miny, mo, Shalonda.
Good evening. I am Shalonda Kaiser Mitchell. I am the money queen. I live in the Midwest and I talk everything money with you. I help you with your budgeting, your growing of your money, your saving of your money, anything money. I can be reached on all social media networks. Shalonda Kaiser Mitchell.
Thank you. Who's next?
Go right ahead, Miss Lane.
I'll go. Hi, everyone. My name is Saran Baker. I'm your debt elimination queen. I talk to you about getting out of that pesky debt, student loan debt, home mortgage debt, car loans, credit cards, you name it. Also help provide income that you will never outlive, and retirement planning and a whole bunch of other stuff, just like these other ladies. And I'm excited to be here. You can find all my information at saran10k.com. It has links to all my websites, social media platforms, and my YouTube where you can get connected with me. And I'm just excited to be here to talk about this subject, which many may not realize how important it is, especially when it comes to debt, because many people's greatest reason for going into debt is medical bills.
Carmen.
Yeah. Welcome. I feel like there's a lag. Am I like behind?
I hear something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, hey niece, thank you for joining us tonight. I am Carmen K. Bernard. I am your cash value queen. I help you to protect your income, eliminate debt, create a retirement stream of income that you cannot outlive, create your private banking, as well as a legacy of generational wealth. I'm here tonight. It is Disability Awareness Month. It's also mental illness awareness month. And so we thought that this was a great time to have this discussion. And I definitely have something to share on it. And I'm looking forward to learning and sharing with our community. I can be reached at carmen10k.com. And you want to find out my social media, you want to website, telephone, carmen10k.com.
Thank you, Carmen. Again, my name is Aaliyah, and we want you to follow us on all social media. We have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, and we're going to probably try to get on Clubhouse again. So welcome, everybody. And the reason that disability is important is because it's the awareness month for disability. And we want to talk about most of us, self-employed, especially our self-employed people that are out there. Disability is very important to you. A lot of times when we are working a job, they may provide that for us. And a lot of times we take it, but we don't think as independent contractors and entrepreneurs that we can get disability. So what is disability? What is disability? Do you know what disability insurance is, what it does, and what it can do for you? Those are the questions that we are going to answer today. So the thought of being disabled, we want to first identify, this is one thing that we have to do. People say, well, I'm on disability. Well, there's a couple of types of disability. There's SSI, Social Security disability, And then there's just regular disability. You can also be on workers' comp disability. So there's several types. And so we want to identify, but we're talking to the entrepreneurs out there, those that are self-employed, those that are running businesses. You have employees. You want to make sure if something happens to you, that your income is protected. So does anybody have a thought on why people actually need it and the types there are? Because it's so confusing. It really is. It's really confusing.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, could somebody buy disability insurance outside their job? Because sometimes at your job you might have disability insurance. May protect about 60% of your salary after you've been then of course there's short-term and long-term disability.
Right.
And so I was wondering, like, could you get disability insurance as well outside your job if you had it in your job? And I remember from when we were training, because we go through hours and hours and hours of training. We're just not here sitting up here talking to you. But I remember a little bit from my training where those types of benefits, what is the word? Like they act together. So, and not at any time can you get more than 100% of your salary.
Yeah.
You get it over. So if you were going to get 60% at your job, you will not get more than 40% at another thing. Anybody want to speak to that a little bit? Which is why I'm glad you said we're specifically speaking to people who either do not have this at their job or who are entrepreneurs, so they don't have it at all. Anybody else want to speak to that point?
I'll jump in. What you're talking about is like the concept of indemnifying. What this disability insurance does is it makes you whole. And so the program at your job is going to give you 60%, but having something outside of work is going to add to it and give you that 100%. And so when people ask the question, should I have this outside of work? The answer for most people will be yes. Or the better question is, can you live off of 60% of your salary? If you can live off 60% of the salary, then no, you don't need it. And that means taking all of your bills and expenses, all the basic things that you pay for, rent, mortgage, car, groceries, food, lights, electricity, cable, or what have you, and cutting it. Can you live off 60% of your income? If you can't, then you probably should consider an outside form of disability coverage, because that will be something that will make you whole. And many of us young people, and I think you guys probably saw my post a few days ago, says, when you're young and healthy, you think you're invincible.
Yes.
Nothing's going to break. Nothing's going to happen. And the thing is that this is the type of thing that you buy that you don't know if you need it. And the best thing to do is to have it and don't need it, than need it and don't have it. Wow. Because we need to protect our ability to earn income. It's not your job that's your greatest asset. It's not even the dollars you have in your bank. It's your ability to get up every day, or whatever days you get up during the week, to get up, get yourself dressed, feed yourself, get in your own car or whatever your mode of transportation is, get to that job and do the work, or get to that business and do the work of that business to earn the income. Because when you cannot earn income, that is when you have the challenge. And anyone, whether you are a full-time employee, part-time, government, and now with the advent of a lot of our young folks and the newer generation, they're independent and all these variety of different things that they do through social media, the Uber Eats and Uber drivers and all the different layers of self-employment. What happens when you can't get up and go out that door to earn that income? And that's why it's so important for us to have this conversation during this time. And Carmen mentioned it earlier. It's not just disability awareness. The other thing we don't think about is mental health awareness. A lot of people have disabilities due to a mental health challenge, and they do not want to talk about it. because especially in the African American community, we don't want to talk about having mental issues because somebody told us we're supposed to be able to endure everything and be all right and keep it moving. So that's my 2 cents to kind of get us started. But really thinking about, you know, the ways that we can protect ourselves because other people are doing it. I saw a report of one of the disability insurance companies, and I think you all saw it too, where it showed, the age that someone took out a disability policy and then the age it actually paid out for them, or they actually had to tap into it. And some people tapped into it the same year, not knowing what was going on. Some people it took 10 years. Some people it took 20 years. But we just don't know what there is. Again, we only know two things after we're born. One day we're going to die and we're going to pay some taxes. And we're going to pay some taxes. Even if we're smart and strategic, we still going to pay some taxes to an extent. The rest of it you can plan for and you can prepare for. And that's what we're talking about.
You know what? You are so right. When I was doing the research on this, I was looking at the Social Security Administration, and they said in the Social Security Administration that 1 in 4 20-year-olds, get this, will become disabled for 90 days or more before they turn 67. Most government workers, that's 68% of, non-government workers, that's non-government workers, have no disability insurance. There are some systems in government here, when you work for the state and the city, they do not contribute into Social Security for your disability. So what do? When they retire or when they get sick, they have nothing. And you have to be able to work. If you're in a car accident, it happens every day in the blink of an eye. And we know that somebody we know had one, but in the blink of an eye, your situation can change. What is your family going to do? What are they going to do if your income stops? It is something to think about. The cell phone that we all have these cell phones. We insure the cell phone before we will insure ourselves. Yes? Yes, it's true.
So not us, not the people on this panel.
Not right.
The other people.
It's the other people. Because we have to, you talked about it last week, Saran. We are worth. What are we worth? What are you worth? You have got to start thinking about you, your family. What is going to happen if something happens to me? And you know what? In the African American community, again, we say, you don't want to jinx yourself. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. I had a post the other day, and the reason that I posted it was because it touched me so deeply when I saw the post, and that someone was talking about they had a stroke. They had a stroke, and the stroke left them debilitated. They survived the stroke, but now they cannot work. They can't walk. The person is in an induced coma, and it'll probably be for months. Okay, because the bleeding on the brain, different things. What's the family supposed to do? She might have children at home, or he might have children at home. Who's going to pick up the kids? Who's going to take care of the car note? Who's going to take care of the house note? Who's going to take care of all the bills? Because the bills do not stop. This is insurance. And I'm going to say that a big I word. This is for you continuing to live. And we have special, you know what? We talked about this again. There are the old life insurance policies, and then there are the new ones, which those are the ones I just recently learned about these policies and how if something, a critical illness, a critical accident, or something happens, where you can tap into that. We do this. I've learned from Carmen and Saran. It's really important that we take advantage of the information that we're given. I saw a post that if you just keep taking in information and never do anything, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. What do you think about that, Carmen? You're on mute. You're on mute.
She's still talking to the mute.
I know.
I was saying I am on mute, trying to unmute. But you said a whole lot there. And some of the things that I heard, we are talking about Disability Awareness Month and about disability insurance. And you might have heard Aaliyah just talked a little bit about life insurance. And we don't want to confuse you, but we just want to let you know there are just so many different ways for you to get this handled, for you to get this taken care of. And you heard us on this show talk about using your dollar more than once, right? And so for many of you, if you may have a disability policy at work, or you may not have anything, and then you want to figure out, well, should I get disability insurance or should I get life insurance? Well, guess what? You can have your cake and eat it too, because you can have a life insurance policy that will protect you in the event of disability that lasts for more than a certain amount of days where you are unable to do certain things. The same types, almost, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but almost the same type of things that would keep you disabled for 90 days or longer, your policy would most likely protect you, because you're disabled for 90 days or longer, like the person she just talked about that had a stroke. You are unable to do more than 2 of the activities of daily living, and that's basically the criteria for you to activate the living benefits on your life insurance policy. So now you're making one premium, but it covers the whole gamut. So that is really good. A lot of times you will hear me talk and you will hear me say, it's not what if you die, it's what if you live. Because yes, if you died and you did have something in place, it will take care of those that are behind, but you're gone. And if you didn't have anything and they have nothing and they still have to struggle, you're gone. It's what if you live? How do you live with that, knowing that you could have taken some action to protect yourself and the family, and you didn't? So that's why we're kind of talking about these things, and when I'll make sure Shalonda get in here in a second, but when Aaliyah said one of us got in an accident recently, she just didn't want to say, and her name begins with a C, or I'm gonna call a name and you whistle. That was Carmen, right? I may or may not have been at fault. I am not. The lawyer says never admit fault, but my car is smashed up, and that's one of the things why I was so happy that we had planned to have this talk, because Saran said when you're young and healthy, then you think you're invincible. I say wait a little bit. In your 40s and 50s, you sneeze too hard and something pops, something moves, right? I'm like walking around all jolly. All of a sudden, my knee decided it wasn't act up. And I was like, I did not realize until, I'm telling y'all guys, I did not realize until 2 days ago how important knees are. Wow. I'm going to that wrong. Knees are important. I did not realize, like, it's a knee. Oh, well, you got a little pain, you limp. Buddy, I could not even move. My 85-year-old mama got to the car before me, because I was like, go ahead, mom, go ahead. But I couldn't move. Your knee mine became so unstable that I could not even move. Then I came home and had to be like, oh, give me a cane or something, because whatever. Now today it's getting back to whatever. But like I said, you get in your 40s and 50s and don't even try to pick up a piece of paper because something is going out. So we've got to think about these things now. What do you say, Shay?
With my clients, I take a different approach, and no one wants to buy insurance, right? Let's just be real. When I used to work at all those places, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they didn't want to insure their phones either. But the difference was, before I finished their sale, I asked them, how are you going to pay for this when it breaks? You're going to come back in here and buy another phone because you won't have another upgrade by then. So in that moment, they see the reality, right? And that's the thing about disability insurance or insurance in general. In that moment, the person has to see the reality. When something happens drastic in someone's life, my phone rings off the hook. People don't think about Shay, the insurance agent, until somebody, dies or something happens or someone gets sick. That's why it's important to sit down with someone and go over your financial house yearly so that we can make sure that your finances are protected. It's not about you being protected. You got to protect your finances. And in doing that, we talked about people having disability insurance at work. Something that I do with my clients is find them money, right? So sometimes it may be a matter of going through their budget. It may be a matter of going through their income. It often is a matter of going through their income. And I do look at their paycheck stub and I do see where all of their money is going. And I'm here to tell you, people decline the disability insurance from their employer a lot. And what makes that so bad is it's really inexpensive to have disability insurance on your own, but it's even more inexpensive to have it through your employer. People, we're talking pennies on the dollar. Very inexpensive. It's so inexpensive, but it's so important that some employers even pay for the short term for you. So it's definitely something to look into. Reason being, when you have disability insurance through your employer, sometimes it can cover things that you didn't necessarily know. For once, I worked for a government contractor and they did not pay us for maternity or paternal leave. Instead, they would use our disability insurance. So if you don't have the disability insurance and you say you have a baby, what are you going to do? Because you didn't get it through your employer. So it's very important to sit down with someone so that they can get a broad overview. They can look at the whole picture and have those conversations with you. And if you don't want the product, that's good. That's okay. But at least you had that conversation. So maybe you don't want the disability insurance, but maybe that means that because you need more than the 60 or the 80%. There are some plans out there that can pay up to 80%. But maybe that means that you are going to put, more money into one of your other investment strategies. That's okay. What we're saying is make sure that you have some means to protect your finances, because there's too many people out there who get into a car accident or playing basketball and tear their Achilles tendon and then have to be out of work for a while, or break both legs and have to be out of work for a while. These are all real life situations that happen. Now, that's bad luck, breaking both legs, but it happens.
So guess what I found? Guess what I found out in my reading, which this is something for people listening. The reason why they typically do not pay you 100% is because of the fact that you pay for disability benefits with after-tax dollars.
Correct.
And so they have to reconcile that with, because because of the taxes. Taxes affect every part of our lives. And so if they were to pay you 100%, you can become more indemnified, and you just can't. We only could get you to 100. We cannot get you to more than that. So that's one of the reasons. But what I'd like for maybe Saran or Aaliyah is Aaliyah's talk today. Can you tell us who should get disability insurance?
Well, I got something ready for y'all. Remember I mentioned earlier the table that we talked about. So when you say who, right? So this list that I have, I'm going to give you a little summary. The occupations of folks who actually had disability insurance and then had to access it for various reasons. So here's one. A family medical physician got a policy at age 28 and had to use it at age 40 for brain cancer, right? Then there's someone who's a sales manager, got it at 47 and age 57, had a leg amputation. So something else was going on, had to have a leg amputation. There was a corporate executive, got it at 48, got a policy at 48, needed to file a claim at 56, ended up having multiple sclerosis, which obviously affects your ability to work. A compliance officer, this sounds like a government job, someone who was a compliance officer and got one at age 50 and had to file a claim at age 55 for major depression. Goes back to that mental health that we talked about, right? Because some of these jobs are very stressful. Here's one that's more common: an emergency medical physician. I don't know, everyone's not an emergency medical physician, but got something at age 54, had to access it at age 56 within 2 years for rheumatoid arthritis. And many people have arthritis, and maybe it's minor or what have you, and it's not as debilitating. But when you think about someone who in the profession where they're using their hands and now they can't, it becomes a disability. You know, kind of like me, because I watch all the cool comic book shows. So I watched Doctor Strange. One of the things that happened to him, he was unable to use his hands in the first movie, and he had to find out a way to do it. And so here's someone, a CEO. So for our business owners, CEO of a nonprofit, age 58, got the policy at age 58, had to use it at age 58. He ended up going into a coma. And so who should get it? It doesn't matter what your profession is, because it doesn't matter, because what might happen can vary across the board. And I want to say this because I know we talk a lot about families and people considering their children and maybe their grandchildren and people they take care of. But let me back up for a second. If you are young, single, and free, I don't care what age you are, right? Young, single, and free, you don't have no kids, you're a mom, you're a dog mom, a dad mom, a dog dad, or whatever it is, right? If something were to happen to you and someone needs to come and take care of you, that's not because it's just you, and you have to have some other family kind of step up. Not having money makes it harder because that person has to take off from their job to come and support you. Or you may need some expert care that comes in. And those are things that we really have to consider when we're fancy, young, single, free, at whatever age, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, whatever, making sure that there's something there to take care of you. Because I can't tell you how my timeline has been lit up over the last 18 months, unfortunately, not just with COVID, but with people having heart attacks and strokes. And you have to have the time to build yourself up to go back. Some people's is mild. Some people are lucky someone recognizes the signs. But what if you were by yourself and things really progressed before someone came to save you and get you medical care? And so those are the things we really, really, really have to think about when we don't want to think about it, right? It hurts to think about it because it's scary. But once you get it done, you don't have to think about it anymore because it's done. And that's
wow. You said a mouthful. You know what? Those are people who have probably higher than average incomes, the ones that you talked about. You know, I was thinking about, the people that braid hair. Their incomes are really good. The people the barbers, the beauty shop owners, they use their hands. When they can't use their hands, what do they do?
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing from you guys is that everybody needs to be protected. Even if you're single, as Saran was saying, you have that income that needs to be protected. But definitely if you have people that depend on you, right? Because a lot of times if one spouse becomes disabled, then the other person got to take off from work to take care of that person. If there's if money's not coming in so that you can bring in someone else. So both incomes are being affected, right? Mm-hmm. But as long as you have somebody, you have people, or definitely for yourself, but if you have people that depend on you, you definitely want to make sure that this is something you think about and get covered.
You're right. And then go ahead.
Right. So I was going to say, popped out my head the question I was going to ask.
I got something funny to say. Y'all keep
Yeah.
answering the phone for those car warranty people. Y'all need to answer the phone for people trying to get y'all some disability insurance. And the people that really have what you need, we not stalking you over the phone with all the
Right.
calls. But the car warranty people, they coming.
That
So
is
can we
funny.
talk a little bit about what does it cover?
Okay.
I mean, I know that Saran named some specific things, but what else does it cover? I mean, will it cover my knee?
Okay, so if you had a disability policy and you could not work because of your knee, and that was your way of living. I mean, you as a barber or a hairdresser, you probably can't stand up, okay, especially for long periods of time.
Right.
Let's say you were a public speaker, you might have to sit down. Can you work? So you have to, if you are not able to work at your job, that could trigger a disability claim.
Right.
Now,
So that's what you call that own occupation, right? There's something,
correct,
because there are a
correct,
couple of different types, right? I know, I remember there's an own occupation and an any occupation. In my
correct. So,
former life, I used to be a claims examiner for an insurance company. I told
oh,
y'all I'm on the other side now, right? And we actually, and I worked in what was called at that time credit life and disability.
okay.
And so, yeah, I work for some of the big companies. I'm giving them any kind of advertisement right now, unless they send me a check. But so we would have to examine these claims, and sometimes we would have to deny a claim because that person couldn't do their own job, or sometimes the first 12 months it'll cover you for your own job, but the next 12 months it only covers you for any job. So the person might still be disabled for their own job, and we would deny them benefits after that first 12 months. They'd be so upset. Like, what do you mean I can't work? Yes, well, based on the definition of your policy, you cannot work at your own job,
Own job.
but you're qualified to do another job. So in that, the example that Aaliyah used, like a surgeon or a barber who needs their hands. Now they might not be able to go back to do surgery, but they can they can consult, or they can supervise or whatever. So that's what so that's one of the things I want people to understand, that there are uh, definitions, different definitions for disability, right? And you've got to meet that definition in order to get that disability.
Correct. And then there's different types. The short-term disability, I remember I had a surgery planned, and I had gotten a disability policy. This is about 15 years ago. So I had a planned surgery, and I had the policy for a while. And when I bought it, I was thinking about, oh, you know what? I don't want to pay that much. It wasn't really that much, but I don't want to pay that much. So when you sit down and you think about, they have what we call elimination periods. I thought, okay, I'm going to be out of work for 6 to 8 weeks. Well, I had chosen, because I was cheap, to get the elimination period of 30 days. So I literally only had 2 weeks of disability because I chose the 30-day elimination period because it was lower in cost.
Yeah.
These are the things that you have to think about. You don't know how long you're going to be on disability. Most times you're on disability 6 to 8 weeks. So if you have a policy and it's a short-term policy, and you have a 30-day, what we call 30-day elimination period. There's a 7-day, there could be a 30-day, there could be 60 and 90 days. They could be different, but it's the cost. And it was very inexpensive, but I was a little cheap at that time. Didn't think that anything would happen to me. And that's why I should have sat down with someone like Shalonda or someone like Saran and looked at all my finances and sat down and said, okay, maybe pay the extra $10 a month and get a 7-day elimination period, so that if I get disabled because of this surgery, it will kick in sooner than 30 days. I actually had to go back to work in like 5 weeks.
And that's a great point, because that's also why that's a great scenario as to why someone would have their disability coverage through their employer and have an inexpensive outside coverage.
Right.
Because just because you're going to be made full to where you were previously doesn't mean you don't get to choose which one you use.
Right.
So if you do have an outside one and you have your one through your employer, and some plans cover different things. Some plans will say that they won't cover certain things.
That's right.
And there are some exclusions that do come with those group or those employer set disability insurance plans, especially if you get hurt on the job. So those are all things to take into consideration. It's important to look at all of your options, because just because you have something at your job does not necessarily mean that it's the best thing for you. It's an option that they're offering to you. Doesn't mean it's the best thing for you, though.
And you said something important.
Just saying that, it may not be the best for you.
I want to jump in. You said something important, because you said if people get hurt on the job, a lot of people who become disabled, the disability is not work related. So the job insurance does not cover them.
Absolutely.
Let me say it again. There's a percentage, and I forgot the exact number, so I'm not going to make up a number, but there's a large percentage of the disabilities did not occur in the workplace. So they're not eligible for workplace disability, workers' compensation, and things like that. And so it's a good idea to consider something outside, because if something happens to you outside the job, so let's take a firefighter. Let's say there's a firefighter and he's off duty and something happens, right? And he has all this coverage at work if something happens to him at work, but it happened outside of work and there's no coverage, zero. Now
that's
what?
One of those exclusions that I was referring to.
Yeah.
But they do also have to where I used to work for, and I'm just trying to be very careful, right? I don't want to be sued, but I used to work for a contract, a government contract, that because they were a very large contractor, but because they did not have 50 employees at the location that I was at, they did not have to pay into workman's comp.
Wow.
So if you got hurt on the installation, it was a military installation. So if you got hurt on the installation, you could then file a claim through the government, but you could not get workman's comp through your employer. So that's another good reason to have a disability insurance, so that you can determine which one pays better. Now, that company did pay disability. However, it had a lot of exclusions.
Wow.
Something to look into. Just take this opportunity when we give you all this advice. It's information. It's just knowledge. It's things that we've picked up along the way, things that we've discussed with clients. And we do this so that you have an opportunity to sit down with us so that we can review what you have. Make sure that you're covered. You may be adequately covered. If so, great. But at least it gets you thinking. A lot of people don't think about these things, just like the cell phone coverage. You wouldn't have bought the insurance on your cell phone if when you were getting ready to buy it, the agent didn't say, hey, you need to insure your phone.
Mm-hmm. Or fries with that shake or shake.
Fries with that shake.
And cell phone coverage wasn't popular when we first got it.
Well,
when we first got cell phone, look, now we age and we can all say when cell phones first came out. When cell phones first came out, right? There wasn't the insurance on the device wasn't a thing. And then when people started having issues, and then it was, oh, you just have to replace it, or it was astronomical to get it fixed and things like that. And then the insurance company said, hey, let's insure these devices, and they started insuring them, and then it became more popular.
Well, and granted, though, back in the day when cell phones first came out, there really wasn't much you could do with them because they were in a bag in the car. So
right. I didn't have one. I didn't have one when I was a kid.
Part of that the reason why most everybody has it now is that no one typically buys a cell phone outright. And so because you're getting it on time, they make you get that insurance. you don't want that insurance, you'd have to buy it outright. That way, if it breaks, you have to pay for it. But other than that, they are making you get it. So it's just like your car insurance. They make you get a car insurance. You think people wouldn't choose to go without it? People would. That's why
Right. If you have a cell phone provider that's making you get your insurance, I will help you sue them. You know they can't do that.
They will make you get the insurance if you are not paying outright for that phone.
They can't
You
do
are
that.
paying monthly payments. That's there. It's just like the car. The car is owned by the company. You just making some payments until it gets to you. So you have to have that insurance.
That's horrible.
Yes.
I never heard that before.
I mean, it's $1,200 for a cell phone. You put down $49.99. You think them people letting you walk away without insuring that phone for $49.99? Please, that's not happening.
I don't know. I don't lease my phones, but still, like,
yeah, no, that's not happening because that is their property. And they're telling you, you can pay $49.99 and then pay it for 24 months or, whatever.
Well, when I worked for Sprint and T-Mobile, they couldn't do that. We could not force anyone to have the insurance, even if they were leasing the phone.
And you can't force anybody to have the insurance, but you can if they're leasing that phone from you. Basically.
No, we couldn't do that.
Yeah, they can do that. And
I never heard of that because I don't lease anything.
Oh, good.
I buy mine. That's what I said. Yeah, I buy mine outright too. But the only reason why I buy it outright is because it's cheaper.
But there are a lot of people that are on that hamster wheel that get a new phone every what?
6 months.
Every 2 years.
6 months.
6 months.
You can jump to a new phone every 6 months. And who's doing that? So they and I remember the last time something went wrong with my son's phone. In order for them to send him a new phone, because it was COVID and you couldn't get any place to take that phone, nobody's open, or it was months before you could see somebody or whatever. In order for them to send him a new phone, then granted, this was after the first year, so the original thing was out, so it was now covered by AT&T. Is it AT&T? I'm saying the wrong thing. Apple, by Apple himself or whatever. I ended up having to have them put an $800 lock on my card.
Wow.
So that they can send my son a phone until my son sent them back his phone.
Wow.
And if they didn't send him back, and it happened to me twice, happened with my grandson's phone as well. If we didn't send that phone back, that we told them something was wrong with it, they would have kept that $800 hole on the phone.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, most of us get that phone insurance, but we don't get insurance.
Well, look, we need to do something like that for people's bodies and people's income and stuff like that. They're not getting the message.
In your working years, when you feel good and you're strong and you're healthy and you can walk miles and you can ride a bike.
Wait. You feel good in your working years?
Well, when you get like,
what are we talking about here?
But just what Carmen said earlier, things start creaking. You can't do what you used to do.
That's what I used to. Soldiers, when you retire, when you get out of bed, you're not doing that PT anymore. So when you get out of bed in the morning at 9 o'clock now instead of 5:45, and you stretch, everything pop.
I don't know what y'all talking about. Ain't nothing popping over here.
I said them soldiers. I'm young.
Oh, look, I ain't
nothing popping because you moving real slow. That's why you moving real slow. That's why nothing popping. You
out of my business.
But we're making this so you guys can understand. Because we're talking and we're laughing about things, but we want to make sure that you understand it's serious. It's really serious. If people are walking around and you have a family, you're the breadwinner, you're the main person, or even if you're a wife, you're a homemaker, we need something to protect the income. If, let's say, a husband, his wife gets really, really sick and he's got to work. Somebody's got to take care of her. That is serious because now I've got to find somebody to take care of my kids or take them to school or somebody to come in and cook. And a lot of men step up and they have to do it all if the wife gets sick, but then vice versa. I saw something again was posted on the internet where a wife had to leave her whole career to take care of her husband who had some type of an illness, and now he was in a wheelchair. And so those type of things, we have to think about those things. If your job provides it, that's good, but get as much as you can outside of the job, because sometimes you can't take that short-term disability and long-term disability policy with you. Sometimes you can't, or the price is really expensive and they put other stipulations on it. So you want to make sure to read the fine print. Look at that. Take care, sit down with somebody. If it's a financial planner, if it's just your insurance agent, because we all have a duty. We have an obligation to make sure that our clients, when we talk to them, are making sure that we're advising them on the right thing. On the call last night, on our training call last night, one of the leaders of the company, he was saying how he helped the young lady find the money to pay. And there are things, I told you a few months ago when I started looking and I said, okay, all these different things that were coming out of my checking account, that would have paid for a huge disability policy for me. Okay. So we think about those things. People get what they want. They do. They find a way to pay for it. And so what you want to do is sit down and if you have to sit down with your family, sit down with somebody who understands and who knows and who can help you. Years ago, it used to be very, I won't say very difficult, but to get a disability policy on your own, you would have to run through a lot of hoops. That's not true anymore.
Right.
That is not true anymore. I can sit down at a computer, put your information in, just like I do a life insurance policy. It'll say, yes, we're going to take you, or no, we're not, or we need more information. It has gotten to be very, very simple.
And I was going to say this, I want to add this, and you said this, find the money, right? But the thing is if you can't afford, if in your mind you can't afford to get any type of disability insurance, you can't afford not to have it.
Wow.
So if you can't afford, when we're saying it's pennies on the dollars, I'm going to make up numbers. If you can't afford $20, $25 a month for a disability policy, you can't afford not to have it, because that means you can't afford the problem. When the problem
and you
comes.
just overquoted, like, because you can get it for cheaper than that, right?
Yeah,
but
I said I'm making up numbers, right?
But I think that what like Leah was saying with finding the money, a lot of times people, especially right now, it's like squeezing a turnip, right? But the thing about it is, I help people with budgeting their money every day. And a lot of times what I find is that we're not in the area anymore to where people are like lavishly spending.
Right.
It's the regular everyday things. Sometimes you just need some help with someone to help you move those things around. Sometimes one of my clients, I was able to save her money just by showing her how to break her bills up. Because she was paying so much money in fees because of when the payments were coming out of her account. It was a simple, hey, let's break this payment into two, paid one in advance, half of it in advance, break it into two. And now you're not getting any of those overdraft fees, none of those non-sufficient fund fees anymore. And you're able to spend that money. So she was able to afford working towards her policy. And I think that's what's important. People see the value in it. They just don't think that they can afford it.
Wow.
So.
And we got a comment in the chat that I think is worth highlighting. One of our, we're going to call her regular viewer because she's back from last week and she won a prize. But she said a friend just told her to make sure you get insurance because she signed up for it just recently because her husband had some surgeries and she unfortunately lost her job, and it's tough. And that we're talking real talk. And so, Nita, we're here and we have compassion. If you need us, reach out to Carmen because I know you know her. but we're here to help you through that process, to get you on some good footing. And so that's important because we don't talk about when we're having tough times.
Yeah, and
And
guys,
this social media has you fooled, right? Let me finish this
right.
part. It has you fooled. Everybody's hair looks good. Look, I'm putting my hair down so you can see I need my braids done on too. It's a mess over here, girl. The background, I gotta clean up all this mess back here with these boxes I got going on. The painters are coming this weekend. Stuff is happening, right? But we don't want to show people the stuff that's really happening behind the scenes. When people start disappearing on social media and stuff like that, that's the time to check on them because things are happening they don't want you to know about because most people don't want you to share in their pain. They want you to share in their success. And then they go through their pains alone and then they say nobody was there for me, right? And I'm not saying it in a blamey way, but a lot of times we isolate and we retreat when we have stuff going on.
That's
So
me.
people don't even know they need to be there for you, right? So that's number one. And then there are people who know that you have stuff going on and it just were never equipped to be there for you. That's just fact,
Especially if
right?
you're the tough person.
Especially if you're the tough person, right? That's just facts. And then other people would be there for you had they known something was going on, right? And I'm not saying that we should take social media and all our platforms and turn it into all doom and gloom, but
I love the way you say things.
It shouldn't turn into all doom and gloom, but we should consider some level of disclosure with the people that are closest to us that we know will be able to help us, or we're not sure, right? Give them a chance to tell you no, right? You don't have to come with all the dirty laundry. You don't have to bring the whole laundry bag and dump the whole bag out and say, this is my crap. But you can come and say, look, I got 1 or 2 things going on. Do you know anybody that can help me?
That's the thing. You never know who people know. Like a lot of times people don't just going around and say, hey, go talk to Leah. She has great disability options for people. But if Saran says, and we talk often, and if she says, man, my friend's going through a hard time, she just lost her job. I'll say, well, does she have a disability policy? You never know. And she's like, yeah, she does. Let me call her and let her know. Because if you get your financial house in order and you review your finances yearly, you might just forget that you have that.
That is so true because, there's so many stories when people, you might come back and say, and it's a good thing to always check in with your insurance agent, your financial services helper, advisor, because a lot of times when you do share that, then they say, but remember that policy I wrote you 3 months ago or a year ago, 3 years ago? That covers that. People even forget that, and that's one of the reasons why we do need to check in with our clients at least annually, but keep up with us, share with us.
But you know what?
I wanted to say 2 things, right? Number one, I want to say to Sunita, thank you so much for being transparent and sharing that with us.
Yes,
because it is hard to actually share, but to be honest with you, it just relieves you and takes away some of that battle of holding up that stress, holding up that burden.
Now she can get to the solution.
So yeah, we thank you for doing that. And I wanted to share this, and I have a very, very good friend. She's like my sister from another mother, although we have not met as yet, right? That's what social media does for you. But the girl and I are so close. I'm not going to say her name, but if she's listening or she hears this on the replay, she will know whom I'm speaking with. But she is, I don't consider myself old, and I'm older than she is. And she suffered a brain aneurysm, and ended up being in a coma. And she is one of those high income earners that work on, have a great paying job and all these kind of things. But her story breaks my heart. And then her husband also ended up having some medical things. Her story breaks my heart because had she spoken to someone like me before, she would have been able, she ended up being out of work for 2 years. But imagine how she could have been protected and had access, to $3-4 million that she could, use to work. Thank God she was a good job. So she was able to to pull through. But when you have these kind of plans in place, it's even additional for you. You don't have to take it all. You take what you need, but it then relieves every bit of stress that you have, right? When you speak to somebody like us. And even if it's already happened to you, like what we're going to do is talk about what else we can do to still keep her protected, to still keep growing her dollars, because it doesn't necessarily have to be you. We can find a way, just like we can find the money, we can find a way to protect someone else, but you being the owner and being able to have access to that money and things like that. You know, the thing about it is when we say find the money, many of us, as Shalonda said, we're not extravagantly spending, but we might not realize what we are doing, where we can really, transpose, like move those dollars, realign those dollars. You might be someone that pays your auto insurance monthly. And you may have the money where you can pay it every 6 months, but it never occurred to you that you can make a 6-month payment. When you make a 6-month payment, you are saving almost 10% on that bill. There is no way that you can invest and get that kind of money. So that is one way to do that, pay that. And then you move those dollars into something that's going to give you additional compounding interest up over what you were already paying, right? The other thing is, when I got in a car accident yesterday, I said to my friend, I got $1,000 deductible. I need to check and see how much damage, knowing full well I know it's going to be way more than $1,200-$1,300. But if you suffer a damage that is just $1,200, that's no claim to turn into your insurance company. That's where you just take the hit because you don't want them to raise your premium so much later on, right? But her thing was, why would you pay $1,000 for deductible? That's crazy. You can do $500. I said, and have them charge me more per month. I can use that money that they're charging me more per month and put it someplace else. I said, I don't know when last I had a car accident. And my deductible is $1,000. Matter of fact, I called them. They said it would be $900 because I'm a safe driver and loyalty and whatever that I've added. So even if I didn't have an accident in 10 years, that's $100 per year for a deductible. So we need to talk these kinds of things and have people understand how they can shift and move money, like Shalonda was saying, and be able to use it more efficiently. And then we show you it's not only about saving the money, because there's only two things you can do with money, right? You can either save it or spend it. So we can show you what to do with it. So it's not about saving it here and spending it someplace else, but saving it here and putting it to work for you, and then using it for something else without losing the work it was doing for you.
Wow, that is great.
Question that just
we
came
only
in my
have
head.
2 minutes. We have 2 minutes.
It's a quick question.
Okay.
Why is it that as a financial professional or as an insurance agent, when we call people, we're trying to protect them or save them money, and everyone else that calls them is trying to take their money, but
Yes.
they don't want to listen to us? I just thought about that. I used to be an insurance agent with property and casualty, and we literally used to call the clients to do their 6-month and yearly review to make sure they're getting all of their discounts, and they would never answer the phone.
Wow.
The same way they told her deductible is only going to be $900 instead of $1,000. We used to call people and say, hey, do you know how much you're saving? It's also a way to keep them with you. But as insurance agents, we're trying to protect you. We're trying to save you money. Stop running from them.
Right. We should be running to us.
Phone.
Listen, I have that, and that is my mantra right now, right? I feel like people should be calling me because what I have, everybody needs to come calling me. I don't need to call you. Call me because I got.
Let me check my phone to see if I got any calls.
Don't we say that, Carmen? Don't we say that, Carmen? Like, Do they know what we have? Why are they not
Know
calling
what
us?
we got?
I have no idea. So look, let me throw this quick story in because you said this, and I know we got 9:30 and we'll wrap it up because we got to do an outro. But so one of the things we said was being prepared, and you talked about not knowing what you need. And so I'll share a personal story. When I was maybe 26, 27, I'm not 26, 27. I'm 33 forever now. But at any rate, when I was 26, 27, I took out my very first life insurance policy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. It's kind of why I'm in the business now, right? In this industry now. I took out the policy, didn't really know, what it was. A cousin was selling it. She said, you need this. You bought a house. You need this. So I'm like, all right, I get it. No biggie. A couple years later, she called me back. All right, now you ready to do a bigger one? So I did a bigger one. It still wasn't that much. I think it was like 100, 150,000. It wasn't that much. And fast forward 10, 15 years, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just making payments, right? Like you said, it's just coming out of my account. But at the time, I was unemployed. I had been downsized or whatever, and it was at the point everything had ended, and I was about to start a job in a month, but the unemployment benefits had ended, and so I was in a little gap. And the insurance company came for their little money like they normally do. And so I called them and said, what are you guys doing taking my money? I need this money. And they're like, oh, you need money? We have some money for you. I'm like, you have money? They're like, yeah. They were like, you have X amount of dollars. I said, I do. I said, what do you mean? They said, you need it? I said, yeah. They said, you want me to send it to your account and then in these 4 digits?
Oh, wow.
You're going to send me the money back that you just took? They said, no, we're going to send you that money back and this amount of money, which happened to be almost 2 or 3 months of living expenses.
Oh, wow.
That I needed. And so I said, well, look at this. I prepared for something I didn't even know I needed.
Yeah.
So when I was finally approached at some point about becoming a part of the industry, and I was like, stop. Wait, I can do this? I already know the benefits of this. How do I sign up? How do I get in? Right. Because I had already experienced
your
it.
phone.
I was going to answer it. I answered it because of relative calls.
She didn't hide from her cousin.
Yeah.
I got it. I was always going to answer because all my big cousins calling what I'm supposed to be doing now, right? But at the same time, but she thought enough of me. She wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, cuz I know you just got your house. This is what you need."
Right.
And
well, you know how blessed you are.
Yeah.
Because right now, the reason that I do what I do is because there was no me when I was younger. And I want to be me for that person, for somebody else.
Yeah. And see, the thing is I want to be extension of what I did have to make sure that it was there because, and you all know, my mom died when I was 22, 23. There was no life insurance. And I have 7 younger sisters and brothers, and 6 were under the age of 18. So there was no life insurance. We had to figure it out.
Right.
And so there was no money.
And
there was no disability
easy,
insurance.
And it was not easy.
It was, look, we'll have to do a whole live just to talk about all the crap I had to go through and all the humbling experience, which I never want to experience in my life. I never want to see anybody have to go through none of that crap.
Right.
Which is why, and Shalonda and Shay, you talk about this all the time. Part of the passion of doing this is I have been through so many ups and downs in my financial life that I've had to fix on my own, because I wasn't wise enough to know, go get help.
Wow.
I wasn't wise enough to have the conversation with other people, or I was isolating myself. So it's like nobody can absolutely know that these things are happening. And so it's an experience now to be able to say, listen, this is what I've been through and I overcame it. And not only did I overcome it, I mastered it. And now I can teach other people how to get through it. And now we can make sure you don't have to go through that. Because here's what you need to do so you can be prepared for it. And
learn from our mistakes.
Learn from the mistakes.
Awesome, awesome. Ladies, we could just keep talking. Yes. We are so passionate about what we do, and we want you guys to feel that. So what we're going to do, we've been here an hour. We'll be here again next week. We're going to have a great topic. And Sharon, I want you to also talk about your show that you do. And then we'll all be doing shows eventually, but Sharon's going to talk about that. Let everybody know what you do so we can let everybody go.
Yes.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead,
me.
Lauren.
All right, so listen, starting this Monday, I did an intro video, but starting this Monday, it's going to be Dirty Talk with Saran, dirty money talk, dirty money secrets. We're going to just talk about those things we don't always talk about. We're going to pull the covers back. We're going to open some doors we don't normally do. I'm going to be taking your questions privately if you, because many people don't want to talk about it. You're going to be, you can DM me any questions you want me to talk about. And we're just really going to pull the covers back on Facebook and on YouTube. And I won't call any names, especially if you DM me. But here's the thing to consider. If you have the question, there's probably 100 other people that have the same question or
Yeah.
that same issue. It's just the scale. And so we're going to be doing Dirty Money Talk, Dirty Little Secrets on Mondays, 8:30 p.m. You know, to be between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on the topic. And in some areas, because I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything, I have some experts lined up, some other experts lined up.
Ooh.
They're going to be able to jump in and answer some of the questions and do some of the talking with me. But the key is we only going to talk about what we know. We're not going to be making up stuff. We're not going to be talking about what we believe and what we think. We're going to talk what we know, so
Right.
that you could be sure that we're bringing you the real. But if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me at Saran10K, and it has my YouTube channel there, my Facebook page, and all that, where you can get connected with me.
When's your show starting? When is your show starting?
Monday, May 16th, 8:30 p.m. sharp.
Eastern.
Awesome.
Eastern time.
Awesome.
If you blink, you might miss it. I'm straight to the point. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna get off. But if you, as long as you ask questions, I'll keep talking. But I'm not gonna stay long because the thing is we're gonna be doing it every week. We're gonna have so much other things to talk about. But it's so important that we really get down to. And the first thing we're gonna talk about is, what are the things holding you back from even making money?
Oh, okay.
That's
awesome.
what we're gonna talk about on Monday. What's holding you back from making money?
Thank you.
That is awesome, awesome, awesome. And I just want to let you guys know that, and I've been getting some questions about this. I have a couple of faithful followers that used to listen to me, and they want to know where I went. My shows are typically Wednesdays. It's called Big Legacy. I am going to sort of be rebranding it just a little bit. It's still talking about creating legacies, but it's going to be just called Big Facts, Factually Speaking with Carmen Bernard. And so I'm going to be back on there on Wednesdays, and I may move it from 6 because I realized I got some feedback that there's lots of, people are just getting home, and 7, it's Bible study. So I may have to go a little bit later. Wednesdays is really late for us because many of us are up and training at 10 p.m. at night.
Yes.
Because we just want to be on top of our game for you. And so I may move it to, between 8 and 8:30 on Wednesdays. But I'll be back with Factually Speaking with Carmen at Big Facts. I am Carmen. You can meet me at carmen10k.com. I wanted to say out loud, though, Sunita was a winner from last week. And so she has a gift coming through. I'm going to post the gift on here, post a picture of the gift. And it's our Millionaire Ladies Mob eye sleepwear. And so, and we will be having that. We will be having our Millionaire Ladies Mob merchandise that you can purchase from us if you want to be a part of the mob family. And so those are going to be coming out, t-shirts, cups, and eye masks and things like that. But I'm going to definitely share Sunita's. We were a little bad this week because we didn't choose a winner. We didn't do a question or anything to choose a winner. But we're going to make sure that that's part of our thing going forward. We might just, if you were on here and you commented or you shared, we may just put your names in something and pull out a thing and announce you as the winner next week. Again, I'm Carmen K. Bernard. It was a pleasure spending time with you. I love these ladies. They motivate me. I love spending time with them. That's why we can never be finished in an hour. But hey.
I think you're just trying to get us on the radar. That's why we can't finish in an hour.
All right, Shalonda.
I am Shalonda Kaiser Mitchell, the Money Queen. You can find me at ShalondaKaiserMitchell.com and on social media, Shalonda Kaiser Mitchell. We will be giving out some planners. I have some planners, some journals to give out. So Stay tuned so that you can win some great prizes, because some of them will be some of my financial planners, which you can also purchase on Amazon by typing in my name, Shalonda Kaiser Mitchell.
Wow, thank you. We're all so awesome. I just love you guys. You know what? My name is Aaliyah Sherrod, and I want to thank you for joining the Millionaire Ladies Mob tonight. We want to make sure we educate you how to save, spend, and grow your money. Thank you so much. You can reach me at Aaliyah10K. I am on Facebook at Aaliyah Sherrod. And thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to sign off until next week.
Hey, wait a second. One thing before we go. I just want to tell everybody I was selected as part-timer of the month.
I forgot about that. Yes.
I was selected as part-timer of the month agent at one of our agencies, one of our main IMOs. And as we've stated before, if you would like to join us, you want to do what we do, we help people.
We
And
teach.
it's not a cliche when we say we help people, and you can help people too and be happy like us and make some money.
Make some money.
I'm sure Saran is going to tell you about that next week, but we got so many different ways of making money. And so come stay tuned with us so that we can rock. Sorry. Bye.
Bye.